All right, so here's the lid. Yesterday we ended with checking to make sure it's fitting on the box and then smoothing it out. So just to recap, I put the lid on top, made sure that the box was exactly the 4x4 size that the lid is. And if your box has shifted a little bit and is a little too big for the lid, you can just manipulate the walls and make sure that it is going to be the same size as your lid. And then you can also manipulate the lid a little bit so that it fits perfectly on top. Okay. Then I took the rib tool and I smoothed out both the top and the bottom of the lid. Later on, you can do more smoothing when you're adding your applique as your handle. But here's what I like to do to make sure that we are going to be putting the inside of the lid pieces on correctly. So I put it down on and I press a little bit, not too hard, but press a little bit like this. And when you press a little bit and pick it back up, you'll see an impression very faintly of where the lid hits the box. So all the way around, I can see this small impression of where this box edge hits the lid. And that's important to see because you want to be able to know where to put pieces inside that are going to ensure that your lid doesn't fall off. So look, I can make a little mark here. Not deep, just a little bit of a mark to indicate where that little line showed up when I put my lid down onto my box. Okay. Now, once I've got those marks indicated, then I know where to put 2 to 4 pieces, depending on what you want, on the lid so that it doesn't fall off later. So let's do this. Let's get our extra little slab pieces. If your extra clay is no longer in a slab shape, that's okay. You can roll out your clay a little bit. So it's about, excuse me, I keep losing my voice. So it's about 1/4 of an inch thick. Okay. And you're going to want a couple of strips like this. So I'm just going to cut a couple strips of my extra slab pieces. And then I'm going to measure how long they need to be. I prefer just putting 2 pieces on instead of going all the way around. So let me cut a straight edge like this. Okay, so I'm going to put it here. And then I'm going to measure how long it needs to be. It needs to be about this big. Okay, one here. And then instead of having pieces going all the way around, I like to just do 2 opposite pieces on the 2 opposite sides. So I'm going to put another piece here and measure it. Cut a straight edge, put it right here, measure how long it needs to be, and then cut like this. I'm cutting in a little bit more than my indication marks that I made. I'm making it just slightly smaller so that I can ensure that it will fit. Now, before I score, slip, stick, and smooth these pieces down, I want to make sure that it fits inside my box. So I'm just going to press it down a little bit so it stays when I pick it up, but not press it down so much that I can't pick it right back up again and score it. So I'm going to make sure that this fits inside my box now. So I'm going to take my box back over here, and I'm going to put my lid on and make sure that those pieces go inside the box. Okay. All right. So those pieces that I just put on, they go inside the box. And now that they're inside the box, when I shake my lid, it doesn't move because those pieces are stopping it from moving. Oops, that one stuck. Okay, so that actually means that this one's a little too long. So I'm going to cut it a little shorter. Okay, so look, this one fit great. This one's a little too long, so I'm going to cut it like this much shorter and then attach it, and it should be perfect. Just for good measure, I'm just going to make sure that this one's a little bit shorter too here and here, the edges. Okay, so now these should be the perfect size, and I can score and slip those in. Okay, should have a new tool here somewhere. Here it is. There's this type of tool we just ordered. It's a scoring tool. So we don't have them quite yet, but hopefully by the end of the year, you guys will be able to try out these scoring tools. It's just little pieces of wire attached to the end of a stick. Sometimes it's a metal stick, sometimes it's a wood stick. So you can just use this instead of a fork or a needle tool to get your scratch marks. It works really well. So these just got ordered end of last week, and sometimes it takes a few weeks for things to come in. Hopefully by your next project, you'll be able to use them. Okay, so I'm scoring there. I'm also scoring the bottom of each of my pieces that I'm attaching. Scoring in 2 different directions. And then adding slip. Just going to add slip to the bottom piece. And then I'm going to attach the scored pieces together, making sure I don't get too close to the line that I made, that indication line that I made. I don't want to get too close to it because then it could make it so it doesn't fit in the box. I'm going to press these down. When you're pressing them down, make sure you're not making them bigger. When you press down, it expands the clay. Keep them the same size that they originally were when you cut them. Otherwise, they're going to get bigger, and then it's not going to fit inside your box anymore. Okay, so this is pretty well secured, but before I smooth them, I want to double check that it still fits inside my box. So before I smooth my edges and completely finish up this attachment, I'm going to bring my box back over and I'm going to make sure it fits again. And it does. Fits nicely, and when I move this around, it doesn't go anywhere. So that means I can finish attaching these 2 pieces, making sure they're really stuck down there. You don't want these to fall off, so you really have to smooth these. Thank you. Okay, so I'll take the edge of this tool and smooth that edge, smooth this edge, smooth this edge. All 4 edges of these pieces need to be smoothed out so that you can't see the seam anymore. So it looks like it was all one piece to begin with, no seams. You want no visible seams. Okay, I've got one last edge over here. All right, then I can just smooth out those other little lines that I had put on there, do some smoothing, and check one last time. Now that I've manipulated these shapes again, I want to check again that I don't have to do any adjusting, making sure it still fits really nicely on the box. bring that back over, put it on like this, and it fits nicely. Now, one thing is that it might not fit in every direction. So I've been making it so that it fits perfectly when the box is facing in this particular direction and the lid is facing in this particular direction. If I turn my lid, it may not fit in the other direction. I'm going to try it. Okay, it happens to fit. That's good. Try it in this direction. It also happens to fit, although there's a little overhang here and a little bit of a space there. See, if I do some moving around, shifting that fits a little bit better. And then let's try it in this direction. Fits nicely. So with this particular box, it ended up staying in the nice 4x4 square so that my lid does fit in all directions. If you did any kind of adjusting to yours, you may find that your lid only fits in one direction, but that's okay as long as it fits in that one direction and doesn't have too much overhang, or the box is sticking out or anything like that, then you're good to go. You'll just have to, after your box is fired, remember that your lid can only go on in one direction. Okay? And that's it for making the lid. That is my preferred method of making the lid. You can, if you want to, put another slab here and have the whole entire square in there as a stopper. But it's easy enough just to do two, and it works perfectly. Okay? So my suggestion is just to do the two. Once you're done with this step, please don't leave your lid on top of your box overnight. What do you think would happen if you left your lid not dry on top of your box overnight? Anybody? It would stick, number one, yes. What else might it do? Anybody? Besides sticking, what might your lid do if you leave it on here overnight? Nobody? I bet you know, but you're not saying because it's first period. What it would do is, because it's not dry, it would warp. It would start to bend inward because of gravity. Okay, since it's not completely dry, there's still water in there. It is still malleable. It's still moldable. And sitting on top of this, it doesn't have enough flat support, and it would just start to collapse in the center, and it would warp. Okay, so don't leave your lid on top of your box overnight until it is bone dry. And bone dry means that there's no longer any water in it. But we don't want to let our boxes get bone dry yet because we still have to add applique to the lid, and we still have to decorate the walls of our box. So we are leaving our finished box is not actually quite finished yet because it doesn't have a theme yet. It's just plain. And this is the themed slab box unit. So you're going to leave your box inside your bag. You can put your box and your lid on your waterproof tray. Okay? Put them together like that. Cover it with plastic and save your extra clay pieces still. Save this extra clay because all this extra clay is going to be used to make your applique on your handle and anything else that you want to add to the walls of your box. So I'm just putting all my extra clay pieces in the plastic, and I'm going to wrap them up so I can start another day. Tomorrow we only have half an hour again. Start another day on making the applique for my handle, the handle of my lid, and adding pieces to my box because I am going to have some applique on the walls of my box as well. All right, this is going to go back inside my bag. If you are finding that your clay is drying out, not particularly your box, but your extra pieces of clay, use the squirt bottles of water up there and spray water on your clay before you put it in your bag. You can also put a few spritzes of water just in your bag. Just open up your empty bag, spray a few spritzes inside your bag, and then slide this tray into your bag. Okay? And that's it for today. We still have a good 5 solid minutes before you really start to need to clean up. 5, 6 minutes.